Namaste. Welcome to each and every one of you. For those of you that may not know the significance of the traditional Indian greeting, Namaste means the light in me honors the light in you. Inherent in each of us is the light of love, wisdom, courage, and compassion, which not only helps us transform our lives, but the lives of those that we are called upon to serve. So I say again, Namaste and welcome to each and every one of you. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Thanks to Bhargavi, Shivani, and the entire team of INTAR 2016 for their hard work and dedicated efforts to make this event a reality. And thanks to each and every one of you for taking time in your busy lives to come join us in this collective quest to have a discussion about mental health and holistic wellness. This morning, I invite you to join me on a cross-continental journey from darkness to light, despair to hope, illness to wellness, and adversity to advocacy. Are you ready to come on this journey with me? I promise there are no passports, no visas, no lost baggage. All I request of you is to just come with me on this cross-continental journey. As a little girl growing up in India, I was shaped by the many stories that my mother told me from the ancient epics of Ramayana and Mahabharata. While her stories lulled me to sleep, I was awakened by the dreams that my father spun for me. Sitting on my father's lap, gazing at the crystal blue waters of the Pacific Ocean, the expansive palm-lined streets of Los Angeles, and the majestic cliffs of the Grand Canyon. Photographed in the National Geographic magazines that he loved to read, I could imagine myself in these far-off places. Princess, one day you're going to send me pictures of you visiting these beautiful places, my daddy would say, kissing me on my head. And I believed my dad's dreams would come true. But at 18, when panic pounded my heart and anxiety coursed through my veins and my soul was darkened by depression, I had no words to describe my horror, and my parents had no words to comfort me. Ignorant about mental health issues, my parents and physicians did not understand my pain, and having no words in my culture to even conceptualize my suffering, I became convinced that I was going crazy. Terrified, I hid behind the facade of normalcy as my world began to crumble. At 22, I married and moved to Portland, Oregon in the United States of America. Traveling across the beautiful country with my husband Ram, yes, you guessed it, I visited all those places that my daddy and I had dreamed about and sent him and my mother pictures from every one of these places, and boy, were they filled with joy. Mysteriously, my symptoms waned, if only to return with a vengeance. At 23, I gave birth to our first daughter. While my daughter grew radiant by the day, I grew despondent by the minute, and I tried to free myself from the stranglehold of depression. At 25, I had a massive breakdown during my first trip back home to India and was rushed into electroconvulsive therapy, antidepressants, and psychotherapy. My deeply religious in-laws requested a priest to come home to exorcise the demons in me, and he molested me. For days, I remained in a catatonic stupor, mute with grief. Shackled by the insidious chains of stigma and discrimination, I went back home to Portland, Oregon, and started living like a prisoner in my own home. At 27, having survived multiple suicide attempts and pregnant with my second child, and in absolutely utter despair, I finally chose to get hospitalized, despite my fears of getting locked up in a mental hospital. Because see, I believed that here in America, the land of the free, that they would treat me with dignity. But I was wrong. I was not only confined in the isolation cell of the psychiatric ward once, but twice within 10 days, and I lost the pregnancy in between. It is there in the dark pit of despair that a stranger came to visit me and gave me the gift of hope that changed my life forever. Her name was Aida. Aida was my husband Ram's boss, Ralph's wife's mother-in-law's friend. She was visiting Ralph and his wife Karen and had overheard Ralph tell his wife Karen about my recent suicide attempt and hospitalization, and had insisted on coming to visit me at the hospital. Although we had never met, she came to hold me and to give me the power that I had so lost in this journey, to encourage me, to empower me on this journey to wellness. Look at me, Aida kept saying, sitting next to me on the hospital bed. I couldn't look at her because I was so filled with shame, but she wouldn't give up. Look at me, she would keep prying my chin up. And when I finally looked into Aida's eyes, I nearly fell into her arms. See, Aida was this beautiful combination with the grace of Jackie Kennedy and the compassion of Mother Teresa. Her very presence was healing to me. I bet people look at you and wonder what in the world is wrong with you. What do you have to be depressed about, Aida said. Look at you. You have a loving husband, a beautiful little girl, and a fabulous future here in America. You have everything a person can dream for. But I know that every day is a living nightmare for you. I know how worthless you feel when your little girl wants to play and all you want to do is to crawl into a closet and cry all day. I know that you're convinced that there is no hope or treatment that will ever help you feel better. I know that you believe that your family will be better off without a despicable woman like you. I remember staring at Aida, wondering how this stranger knew the darkest secrets of my soul. But you're wrong, my darling, Aida said, pulling me closer into her arms. I know the horror of living, wanting to die with every breath. I know because I have lived and struggled and survived depression ever since I was 18 years old, she said. Over the next 15 minutes, I stared at Aida in disbelief as she shared her struggles with depression and her relentless pursuit of recovery. You see, for years and years, my family and my physicians had insisted that I would get better, but I had no faith in their words. When the ECTs and psychotherapy and all the medications in the world did not heal me, I had lost faith in medicine. When all my prayers and that of my family had failed to rescue me from the dark hell of depression, I had lost faith in God. When the priest was invited to come home to exorcise the demons in me and he molested me, I had lost faith in humanity. But I believed Aida when she said that I could recover. Because unlike all these people, Aida had walked through the dark abyss of depression and emerged into the light. Growing up in India, my only image of a woman with mental illness was that a half-naked woman running down the streets of Bangalore, dogs chasing her, people pelting stones, calling her hoochie, crazy. And I was terrified I was going to end up like her. Raised in a culture where mental illnesses were often thought as a curse, as a personal misgiving, as a possession of demonic spirits, I had no concept of recovery at all. But here I was, meeting Aida for the first time in my life. I began to dream that perhaps like Aida, I too would recover one day. Although her visit was short, Aida gave me the gift that has sustained me through darkness into light and all the journey that I have had since that day in that hospital room. But not quite yet. Days after meeting Aida, I suffered a miscarriage. And having absolutely no hope to live, I had begun to cry, I want to die, I want to die. And I was locked up in the isolation cell for the second time in 10 days. It was the most traumatic experience of my life, but yet ultimately life-transforming, because getting locked up set me free. Getting locked up set me free to ask those questions that had long been buried in my heart. Am I crazy, or is the world around me crazy? What is the purpose of my life? Is psychiatric treatment traumatic or therapeutic? Getting locked up set me free to realize that while mental illness can shatter my mind and the mental health system can confine my body, there are no walls in this world that could contain my spirit. Getting locked up set me free to dream of a life and the possibilities beyond the confines of the isolation cell and the limitations of my illness. Getting locked up set me free to create a life of meaning and purpose. On April 30th, locked up in the isolation cell of a psychiatric ward, stripped of freedom, dignity, hope, and humanity, I promised to emerge a messenger of hope and healing. For every indignity that I had suffered in shame and silence, I promised not just to fight to restore my dignity, but the dignity of the 450 million men, women, and children struggling with mental health issues around the world. And for every day that my family and I had lived in despair, I promised to bring hope to the lives of others like us. I had absolutely no idea how to realize that promise, but it kept me alive. It is there in that psychiatric ward that for the first time in my life, I met others like myself, people struggling with mental health issues, and I realized that I was not alone. In our collective struggles, I discovered strength and solidarity. It is there that I found the love and acceptance and understanding of people that I had so longed for and hadn't found in the world of normals. So, in April 2006, along with a dedicated group of mental health advocates, I started Asha International, a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting mental health awareness and bringing hope and healing to the lives of people, just like myself and my family. Asha literally means hope in Sanskrit, world's most ancient language that originated here in my home country, India, and also in Hindi, India's national language. In English, Asha is an acronym for a source of hope for all touched by mental illness. At Asha International, we offer hope to people in everything that we do. We offer a wide variety of mental health education programs, wellness workshops, cultural competence training, peer support services, referrals, and resources. When I started Asha International 10 years ago, I started with a simple wish that I would transform the lessons that I'd learned in pain to give hope to just one person struggling with a mental health issue. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stand here today, I am delighted to share with you that we, my colleagues and I, with the help of people just like you around the world, have had the privilege of reaching out and touching the lives of more than 45,000 people with a resounding message of hope and healing. In April 2014, I had the privilege of writing and publishing my memoir, Shadows in the Sun, Healing from Depression and Finding the Light Within. I take incredible gratitude in knowing that I was the first person of Indian origin to share my journey through mental health issues, through the darkness of depression and into the light of a full and possible life filled with love and gratitude. I come from a country of 1.2 billion people, many of us struggling, but struggling in shame and silence. And here we are today, gathered to break, to shatter that silence, and to empower people struggling with mental health issues and their families in this journey to wellness together. The book was published by Random House here in India and in the South Asian markets. And I just wanted to share a couple testimonials that have so warmed my heart. Dr. Vikram Patel, I'm sure most of you know him. I was really, really grateful that he took the time to read the manuscript and write the foreword to the book, and here's what he said about the book. In 2015, I had the privilege to present a TED Talk, Be the Hope, which has been viewed thousands of times, but that's not the important fact. I'm here to tell you that each of us has the ability to give hope to a person in darkness and in despair. Over the years, I've witnessed the power of stories just like mine and the millions of stories around the world, to create social change and save lives. At a wellness workshop I was presenting in Pune, and I know there are representatives from SA, Schizophrenia Awareness Association, my hometown. Thank you for being here. I was presenting a wellness workshop in Pune several years ago, and I met Altaf, a young Muslim man who was struggling with depression and was overwhelmed with gratitude when he said, "It was my dream to be an architect. Due to my illness, this dream has turned to ashes, but new hope has arisen from these ashes like a phoenix. Today's program and Gayathri have inspired me to fly again." Barb, an inmate at Coffee Creek Correctional Facility in Wilsonville, Oregon, sent me a card a few weeks after I had the opportunity to share my story in the prison. "Dear Indian woman," she wrote, "I'm sorry I can't remember your name, but thank you for coming and sharing your story with us. For the first time in my life, I can imagine a life beyond the confines of this prison again. Over and over again over the years, I've learned, much like Altaf, Barb, and Aida taught me, an incredible truth. Mental illness has no barriers, not of gender, not of age, not of culture, not of socioeconomic status. But the most important lesson of all that they have taught me is that hope and healing have no boundaries. It did not matter that Altaf was a Muslim man and I was a Hindu woman. It did not matter that Barb was incarcerated and I was free. It did not matter that Aida was Armenian and I was Indian. The gift of hope unites and heals us all. And it is with that message, I hear the timer beeping, that I'd like to close my sharing this morning. I am humbled beyond belief to be here with all of you today. And I just want to share a final prayer and invite you all to participate in Asha International's You Can Recover project. I'll be videotaping stories here at the conference, and certainly you can also submit your stories online. It is stories that have the power to humanize mental health issues, to give hope to peers around the world, and share insights into how each of us can not only recover, but thrive. So thank you and namaste.